Okay, next, since it involves with fluid, therefore we need to memorize what are the factors that involve with the fluid movement. So those are dynamic viscosity, nu, supposed to be nu, and then thermal conductivity, since the heat source normally came from the solid object, so K. And then we have the density of the liquid itself, then also the specific heat, fluid velocity, speed, as well as the geometry, because geometry will determine the area, and then times of flow, just normally represented by Reynolds number. So let's review some information related to fluid mechanics. The very first one is we have viscous and unviscous or inviscous fluid region. Viscous is basically refer to the viscosity. So viscous flow means fluid with viscosity. So majority of liquid or even gas have viscosity. So the difference is in terms of the magnitude, whether a very big one or just a very small amount of viscosity. In viscid flow, so in many flow of practical interest, there are typically region not close to the solid surface, where viscous force are negligible, small compared to the inertial or pressure force. Okay, by right, in viscid is basically no viscosity, but in real, with any liquid or any fluid will have viscosity. So, but in this case, sometimes the viscosity not play much effect on towards the flow. So because of that, we still able to generate in viscous flow region. Okay, for example, this one. So this is maybe came from a very small inlet, some sort like a nozzle, and then at very high speed. So because of that, so the flow here will be considered as viscous flow, very much affected by the viscosity. But certain distance from this region, you can consider as inviscid flow, which is not much affected by the viscosity of the liquid itself. It still have the viscosity, but the viscosity they not so much important in this case. Okay, so this GIF image is basically just to compare five, I think, oil, engine oil most likely in this case, at different viscosity. So the higher the viscosity, we can see the effect towards the flow. The next one is about the internal and external, as well as the open channel. External flow is basically flow over the object. So for example, this case, cross section of an aerodynamic object. For example, maybe uh, airplane cross section of the uh, ship. So whenever the flow goes around the aerodynamic shape, so you can see the effect of the movement. And then for internal flow, it's basically flow bounded by boundaries, and then sometimes it's not affected by the atmosphere. So there's no connection to the atmosphere, there's no opening, and then the flow is major because of the movement only. So for example, this is the direction, the inlet movement. So originally the speed almost constant, so still have the blue line, so meaning same speed. And then whenever passing through the small connection here, okay, so relatively smaller diameter, and because of that, and then at the same time also we have an additional of inlet flow, so came in. So whenever they combine these two, and then the flow already become disturbed. So because of that, so we have some sort like maybe a turbulence somewhere here. Okay, so this is an example of internal flow, basically bounded by boundary or wall, and then not affected by the atmospheric pressure. The next one is the open channel flow. So open channel is also again bounded by certain boundaries. For example, we have two walls and then one bottom section. But for this case, this one is open to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so the flow is basically because of the slope, and then also because of the atmospheric pressure. So this is an example of open channel. Okay, next one is the compressible and incompressible flow. Compressible means we can compress that fluid. Normally for gas, we can compress. Incompressible flow meaning it cannot be compressed, and normally for liquid. And then we might also involve with a very high speed of liquid, normally involved with gas. For example, for aircraft, rockets, spacecraft, and so on. So in order to differentiate the scenario or the region, we use the Mach number. Okay, basically the ratio of the speed of flow. Okay, flow surrounding the, for example, a jet. So it's flow surrounding the jet compared to the speed of sound, c. So the standard speed of sound is 346 meter per second. Okay, so these are the types of the high speed flow, sonic, subsonic, supersonic, and hypersupersonic flow. Then next, okay, so the most common one will be the laminar and turbulent. So laminar is basically the highly ordered fluid motion characterized by the smooth layer of fluid. Basically the very smooth one, so we can see the line if we have a small inlet of dye surrounded by, for example, maybe fresh water. So we can see a very smooth line, okay, one single line moving in almost the same or horizontal line. And then we have turbulent flow. So basically the very much disturbed direction of movement as well as speed. And then in between they have the transition. I will show you the GIF image for a better picture. So this comparison between the laminar and the turbulent. So for example, laminar we have maybe seven unit of liquid. So I can say something like that. So exactly on the wall, on the pipe wall, it's not moving at all. And then when we go towards the center of the pipe, this is internal flow. So the movement of particle, the water particle from this point just now, so it's moving almost in straight line. Okay, so this is laminar. But of course, it's different speed lah, because this one zero speed and then become higher and higher. But for turbulent, if let's say these are the particle, so we can see the particle moving in something that we cannot predict the direction. Okay, so came from a very good linear movement, and then once you go through the length, so the movement become hairwire. Okay, circulation and then come back and so on and so on. So that's the comparison between the laminar and turbulent. Okay, the next one is about the Renault number. So normally the laminar and turbulent is given by or showed by the Renault number. So you can characterize the laminar or turbulent by Renault number. The Renault number is basically very much defined by the geometry, surface roughness, velocity, then temperature, and as well as the type of fluid. The Renault number is basically the initial forces, ratio of initial forces over viscous energy. So formula is given by the rho u LC over mu. Rho is the density, this one is the speed. LC in this case is the characteristic length. So this one very much depends on the geometry as well as the direction of flow divided by mu. This one is the viscosity. So normally I prefer to use this one rather than this one. How to determine whether it is laminar or turbulent? Normally we have critical Reynolds number, but take note we have internal and external flow. So Reynolds number, critical Reynolds number for internal and external are different. So we need to be careful with that. Okay. Normally laminar occur at lower Reynolds number, and then turbulent occur at higher Reynolds number. So this table is basically just to show the difference in terms of the how to determine the L. Okay, for example, for flat plate, L is the length. Inclined plate also L length, and then for horizontal hot plate, whether the hot top surface is hot ataupun or lower surface is hot, so the LC is given by the area divided by the perimeter. And then again, this one L, but for this one it's going to be D, and also for sphere also D. So like I mentioned just now, LC is depends on the geometry of the object. The next one on the steady or unsteady, as well as uniform or non-uniform. So we will go forward to next slide. So we have uniform and non-uniform, then steady and non-steady. So uniform is basically depends on the location. So uniform flow meaning at any location the speed the same. So there's no changes of speed over any particular location. So the changes are equals to 0. So no changes at all. But for non-uniform, there will be changes of speed at different location. For example, in this case, it might be because of the different diameter, therefore the speed are different at different location. Okay, for steady and unsteady, it is depend on the condition. For example, the first one, this is the water level, and then the second one, the level drop. Right. At the very first place, if the level is constant, so the velocity here will be the same. So that is steady flow. But for unsteady, if the level or the condition change, then the velocity here will be changed. So steady or unsteady is very much depends on the time. Okay, so for example, maybe in the morning, the constant steam level. Okay, so as long as the constant level, then the speed will be constant. But for example, maybe somewhere in the evening, the level drop. So because of that, the speed will drop as well. So that is the steady and unsteady. This is steady over time, and then uniform just based on the location. So this is another example lah. Uniform, constant, and then non-uniform, and then steady versus unsteady. So steady at any point, speed the same, but for unsteady, so today this is the speed, and then future maybe the speed reduced. So based on the time, over time. Okay, so now let's go to velocity and thermal boundary layers. So this one will be quite important for the heat convection. I want to show the difference between the velocity boundary layers and thermal boundary layers. Both look similar,